Now let's go back to this event in the UK, which is, as I've said, a mixture of these USA doctors that appear on the Reawaken America tour, which is pro-Trump, who is pro-jab, whilst all the doctors are vehemently anti-jab. A mixture of those and the UK people involved in the truth movement. And let's look at one of the UK hosts of the event. This guy, Aston Gregory. Now, he has not got that many followers, subscribers, 40,000 or so on YouTube. I think last year he started the Pandemic podcast on YouTube, which appeared out of nowhere with interviews with Mike Yeadon and again loads of doctors. At that time, he had very few subscribers. He quickly appeared on Iconic with Gareth Ike, became one of the co-founders of the Together Declaration, which was aimed at London protesters. Interviews with Dr. Jane Ruby, Rainer Fulmick, Dr. Pierre Corey, Anna Brees. He turned up on Resistance GB a few times. Always a big red flag, that one. John O'Looney. He talked to Dr. Peter McCulloch. You know, I'm starting to get deja vu again. With Talk Radio's Julie Hartley Brewer. Again, we are seeing a pattern, only this time it's someone from the UK. Someone who appeared out of nowhere and suddenly is interviewing all of these people. Well-known doctors at the time. A number of them who are at the Reawaken America tour and some of those linked to the New Age, the Academy of Divine Knowledge, and also linked to Earth Heroes TV, which seems to have the same New Age agenda, okay? And now, he is now at this event as a host with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Del Bigtree and the like. So let's scratch below the surface of Aston Gregory to see what we can find. Well, first off, he's just launched this thing called Elevate. It says, personal and societal transformation to co-create a better world. Yeah? So it's already sounding similar. Let's make a new Earth, a great reset, a utopian Aquarian new world. That's the vibe I'm already getting. So anyway, I joined the community to see what was going on. And it's very much like a Facebook community. You join and you have a timeline and there's stuff posted on it. So when I go into this, the first thing I see is this. Breathwork, 7-day challenge. So basically meditation, some new age stuff. That's the first thing I see. Now, if I was following Dan, watching his interviews with doctors, talking about lockdowns, etc., and I wanted to join his new community, this isn't what I would be expecting, new age stuff. Then the next post down was more meditation. And then the next post down after that was it says here, how to rejuvenate when your energy is low. Okay. Next post down was this one. What is United Polarity and why is it so important to this community? United Polarity, it says. It says here, I first discovered the concept of United Polarity via a series of posts that Aubrey Marcus put on. Now, if you check out Aubrey Marcus, you will find he is full on New Age meditation. It's talking about shamanism, manifesting, psychedelics. He's also connected to Brett Weinstein, who is also talking at this UK event. Anyway, Dan then goes on to say, at the core of the United Polarity is the recognition that we are all on the same team, a human team, part of the Earth team, part of the divine team, he says, and our team needs all of us. It's sounding very like a Unified website. It even looks a bit like that Unified website too, like the Academy of Divine Knowledge. Same sort of transience going on with the colours. He goes on to say, the final component of United Polarity is the cultivation of community. Our desire for the Elevate Network to become virtual agora, a term used by the ancient Greeks to mean open place of assembly. So it's sounding very New Agey. It's like again, look, we see these doctors, many of them, you scratch behind the surface. You find New Age, meditation, and philosophies akin to the LUCIS Trust, formerly Lucifer Publishing of the United Nations. And all of this unifying the world for the age of Aquarius, for a new world order type of stuff. Checking out his YouTube videos, here we see Aston Gregory at the start of this year interviewing this woman, 2022, The Global Awakening, with Sundari Marcy Locke. Now this interview, if you want to have a bit of a laugh, give this a bit of a watch. This is New Age to the max. Strangely enough, this woman, for someone who is enlightened and awakened, as she claims, she's got a mouth like a fishwife. She's effing this and effing that. Anyhow, we have in this interview all the New Age LUCIS Trust mantra, Alice Bailey, Helena Blavatsky stuff going on. We have her talking about her connection to the Ascended Masters. This is the Theosophical Society, talking about connecting to the fifth dimension, the rays of light, the whole shebang. Now, how did this guy go from being an activist about lockdowns, interviewing doctors, to now peddling this New Age stuff, like all of these other ones? It's kind of strange, right? Here is the woman's webpage, okay? It says, calling all light leaders, change makers, and new humans of the new earth. Embodied empire led by spirit, 4-day expansion experience. And look at the logo. Does that remind you of anything? New Age on steroids. Here's a photograph of her doing the triangle pose. Humanity is passing through the great change, she says. We are collectively being reborn. This past year has brought unique challenges, unprecedented changes, and global unrest. The time is now to come together and to unite as one. Embodied, enlightened empire is now. We're gathering the globe together. Will you join us, beloved? This is our greatest awakening. It's time to optimize your body, access your multidimensionality, lead from your divine feminine. Divine feminine is straight out of the LUCIS Trust, Alice Bailey. As you can see right here, it also says, learn how to timeline hop, so that you can fulfill your mission, experience even more bliss, and do your part to manifest the golden age of miracles, she says. So this, I think this is New Age. What do you think? Same talk and outlook, same themes, keywords as the LUCIS Trust, formerly Lucifer Publishing, New World Order, Age of Aquarius talk. And this is coming from an interview with a UK guy involved with Together, the London protests, who has interviewed many of these doctors that we've already covered, speaking at this UK event, and is now setting up a community which is chock-a-block full of New Age stuff as well. It seems these people, these doctors, these presenters, you scratch below the surface and you find New Age stuff linking to the LUCIS Trust, the United Nations, and the New World Order. So it's like they get your attention with the talk of the jib-jab, the doctors, the lockdowns, the human rights, the World Economic Forum, etc., and people start following them, thinking you're fighting against the system, and yet it seems to then draw you into groups and communities where you're bombarded with New Age LUCIS Trust stuff, talking about building a brave new world together and unifying, sounding like a bit like a New World Order, a great reset with this New Age stuff, yeah? Or is it all just a coinky-dink? Not convinced? No? Well, let's take a look at another recent interview this guy has done. And we can see a direct link, okay? Here he is recently interviewing a person called Helena Norberg Hodge. I've never heard of her before, but this was apparently Aston Gregory's most anticipated Elevate podcast yet. Now, Helena Norberg Hodge is the founder and director of Local Futures. Local Futures is an international non-profit organisation dedicated to renewing ecological and social well-being, it says here. In this interview, she's promoting something called World Localization Day, which on the outset, I mean, it looks like a good idea. It says it's about growing local food, local economies, and a lot of eco stuff. But when I looked into their social media posts, it seems to me that the primary focus is on climate change, yeah? For example, here's a post from their Facebook. It says, let's have car-free days everywhere, they say. Car-free Earth Day is a growing tradition that allows New York City's car-free cities to come alive, yeah? Now, that sounds familiar, yeah? I mean, this is straight out of the World Economic Forum's playbook and the United Nations, Car-Free Day, and a lot of the other posts. are focusing on climate change. That seems to me to be the primary message that is being put out here. And let's face it, this organisation has been around since 1975. And if the localisation of growing local food is their aim, well, it hasn't been working. I mean, it's got progressively worse in that time. So if we look at this World Localisation Day, the site, which is from the Local Futures organisation, we can see that it has some big name supporters. The Dalai Lama, Noam Chomsky, I'm waving my arms around Russell Brand, Jane Goodall. Oh, is that the Jane Goodall who is in the World Economic Forum and said this about the world's population?
We cannot hide away from human population growth because, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
Yeah, that's Jane Goodall at the World Economic Forum. So 500 years ago, the population of the world was estimated to be 500 million, 500 million, which is the same amount as written on the Georgia Guidestones. So yeah, we wouldn't have any problems, she reckons, if we could reduce it to that number. That would mean a reduction in the world population of 92%, from 8 billion to 500 million. And she said this at the World Economic Forum. She supports the World Economic Forum and she supports this organisation as well. So this whole thing comes from Local Futures, which, as I said, is an international organisation. Here is Helena, Norberg, Hodge speaking at the Brussels Economic Forum, talking about a new global order set up by the European Commission. Now, here's the interesting part. If you go to the LUCIS Trust website, the LUCIS Trust, formerly known as Lucifer Publishing, the spiritual foundation of the United Nations, you will find this organisation, Local Futures, you will find them mentioned here on a page called Weaving the Network of Aquarian Service, the World Goodwill. And if we click on this page, it takes us to the LUCIS Trust site and it says, as we continue the difficult transition from the Piscean astrological epoch into the vivifying energies of Aquarius, a multitude of fresh visions arise. Countless individuals and groups are exploring how we may live together in reimagined networks of cooperation and sharing, transcending old barriers and borders, etc., etc. And it then says, here is a list of new group world servers. Presented in this issue is a small sampling of this Aquarian group work. And we scroll down the list of groups and here we find the Local Futures organisation. So we have a direct link. They are listed as Aquarian group servers, part of the World Goodwill Group of the LUCIS Trust, formerly known as Lucifer Publishing, based on the teachings of Helena Blavatsky and Alice Bailey, the spiritual foundation of the United Nations, who want to rid the world of Christianity and create a one world government, a one world religion, a new world order. It's a direct link. Here we have Aston Gregory of the Together Declaration Group, who's interviewed all of these doctors, been on lockdown protests, and he's speaking at this event. Who all of a sudden is pushing new age stuff now onto his audience and is interviewing a woman whose international organisation is linked directly to the LUCIS Trust, the United Nations, and labelled as an Aquarian group worker. That's a direct hit, is it not? The LUCIS Trust, they're very much like Extinction Rebellion, yeah? They've got bases and groups all over the world, all across the world, as you can see here. Lists of groups worldwide network. They're everywhere. Thousands of groups all across the world. Europe, America, Australia, Africa. I mean, just for example, they've got 14 groups in the Netherlands alone. This is a big network we're looking at here.